For Tapir, packing was not going to be a major issue. He simply tied a bunch of bananas to one of our rucksacks, and that was all he was going to bring. On our arrival at Platanal, Alfredo arranged for a plane to collect us and decided to come with us on the first leg of the journey. Tapir was about to enter a totally alien world, and I was now responsible for every single aspect of his well-being. I immediately started behaving like an over-anxious parent. Tapir, by contrast, seemed to be taking the whole thing in his stride. Still barefoot, Tapir strode casually into the outside world, carrying some traditional Yanomami bows and arrows. These were actually my souvenirs.
No. What I meant was I don't think my Spanish is very bad. Some days my Spanish is all right. Okay. All right? Yeah. All right? Hey, what do I do here? Hold on.
There may not be anything remarkable about Puerto Ayacucho, but for Tapir, everything was remarkable. We checked into a small hotel where it fell to me to reveal the wonders of Venezuelan plumbing and how it doesn't always work. Tapir had clearly got it sussed, but just in case he'd missed the subtleties, I resorted to a bit of crude pantomime.
Hay papel aquí. Perfecto. Aquami. Aquí. Ah.
Having demonstrated some of the basic comforts of urban living, it was now time to explain some of the dangers. Tapir was clearly going to need some clothes for this journey, but there was a much more pressing requirement: an identity. Because officially, Tapir didn't actually exist. Yanomami birds are not registered in Venezuela, so Tapia had no papers, and as we were about to discover, no means of getting any. To transform him into a real person, it would be necessary to resort to deception. So, take one non-person, give him a Spanish name and invent a date of birth, then employ the services of a Portuguese hustler. Add 2 accredited Yanomami who are prepared to lie a bit, and a liberal splash of cash just to oil the machine. Carefully mix all these ingredients together and hope for the best. First stop, DX, the registration office. But they want more paperwork. Our Portuguese hustler suggests that for a modest fee, another office could resolve this problem. They couldn't. The recipe clearly wasn't working. Alfredo and I had a council of war, and Tapia was getting bored. Carlos, our Portuguese hustler, kept insisting that everything was going according to plan. After 5 days, I wasn't so sure.
It's not all been simple.
But it's different because in the prefectura it's different.
Yes, but you've had to pay money to the Guardian as well. You've really said, David, give me £5,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's necessary.
Yes. Okay. No one ever said this was going to be easy, but it's turning out to be downright impossible. We've trawled around all the offices in town, just trying to find out how you get a bloody, not even a cedula, but just some way out, some way just to get to Caracas to start with. But it's just proving completely impossible. And I think for his sake, as much as anybody's, it's probably better to cut our losses now and say, okay, it's been a brilliant experience, he's had a chance to see the outside world, and I would hate to waste what has been a great trip up to this point. So maybe it is time to quit, but we'll wait. We'll give it one more day and see how it goes.
So Tapia and I returned to the registration office. They now said they could issue an identity card on one condition, that we stay in Puerto Ayacucho for another 3 months. However, there was another option. We should all go to Caracas, where the process could be completed within a couple of hours. I wasn't entirely confident, but nevertheless we all flew to Caracas, where we were promptly arrested because Tapia had no identity card. In desperation, I decided to call on a friend at the British Embassy to see if he could help us through the bureaucratic maze. The one thing we had achieved in Puerto Ayacucho was to accumulate a mass of useless paperwork containing details of Tapia's new identity. He was now Alejandro Chamo Posiwe.
Okay, y el segundo apellido es Aplewe.
Our papers also state that Alfredo is Tapia's uncle, which is not actually true. But Alfredo insists that this is a technicality because all Yanomami are family.
You will always find something.
Yes.
She's very difficult. It's not as simple as that.
Right.
She said that it's got to be relative by blood.
Right.
That is to say, uncle or aunt.
Right.
Right. But now she's saying that it's got to be an aunt, not an uncle.
But his uncle is not good enough. He needs an aunt. Well, I think I know his aunt is probably still lying in a hammock in Bureaucratic. I think she was the one that I said, "Don't worry, I'll look after your boy for you." Oh, I don't believe it.
¿Aló? Sí, ¿cómo está? Dile que me espera un ratito, ¿ok? Right. It was. She said, "You go over there."
Right.
And she's aware of everything. I don't know what that
Right.
doesn't mean. If it means a yes or no.
Right.
Go by Metrobus to Altamira, where the
Right.
hotel
Yes.
was,
Yeah.
and then go to Estación Capitolio.